the emotional heartbeat of this movie is your kind of like push and pull brotherhood with Henry's character with Snake Eyes. How is it kind of working out that dynamic with him over the course of this entire, story?
Yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, it was, you kind of, you do, once you do research and you prep and then script analysis, you kind of figure it out and you kind of, I think Robert really helped us, the director helped us chart that out. And I think it's very much, the yin and yang, but then it kind of flips on it. So it's like, whilst Snake Eyes is becoming this hero, Storm Shadow is, from this honor, dignity and this code, and then that slowly kind of thing. So they slowly kind of we did chart that out basically. Yeah, and hopefully did a good
Well, I
job.
mean, in speaking of Storm Shadow, as a kid, he was always just the faceless kind of white ninja. What kind
Yeah.
of sense of humanity were you really interested in bringing to this character, especially as we see more of his backstory and how it's juxtaposed with Japan and its culture?
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, we did a lot. Did a lot of research on Japanese culture. Kind of crash course. A refresher on all these Japanese films, cinema. I took a lot of influence from a bunch of the older actors, even Ken Watanabe down from Last Samurai. Sword of Doom is a film I loved. I wanted to make sure that kids growing up and the younger version of me out there who probably might want to become an actor someday, I wanted them to be proud and feel like they've seen and heard, and that you can add layers and nuance and things Robert, he allowed me to do that. And I think the way in for me was doing the research on Japanese culture and the samurai culture, really. So that was the way in, and about the code, the Bushido code. That's a little tidbit of information, is that every time you see Tommy twiddling with this totem, that's because he's meditating on this Bushido code element. And that gradually crumbles as we go along. So yeah, there was a lot of basic work you do as an actor, that you take on any role, but then, all the other things, the comic book, the fans, speaking to the fans, etc. Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of angles.
Well, as a fellow half Asian person, it means a lot to see you and Henry like headline a movie like this. What elements of like Japanese culture did you really want to celebrate? Because the movie really is, especially filming in Japan, like really does celebrate that. What did you want to kind of bring to audiences that might not normally know about that side of the world?
Well, I mean, luckily Robert's a huge Japanese cinephile. Like he's an encyclopedia of Japanese films, and he loves that. And I think he educated me on a lot of it. And so I think that a lot of that work is done with Robert. And I think it's a celebration. It's an homage to Japanese films, especially the Yakuza. I love the way they're dressed. It's like a 1980s Yakuza film, adding a bit of fun to it. And I think, but the thing is, wanted to ground it in was with the kind of honor and dignity that Tommy is holding within himself and struggling with. And I think there's so much of that in Japanese culture, samurai culture, etc., that we're losing, that we've lost for the modern society growing up, the respect that you have for others and all that stuff. So yeah, there was all those things laid in, basically. Yeah.